Aê, como você tem passado? Ainda me lembro da gente. Ainda.
Welcome everybody. It's a really exciting session today. Just even reading up about Bolaji Olatoye, and the things that he's done and accomplished as well, even internationally, shows us that he has a level of expertise that we could all learn from. So that's going to be really fascinating. AI again is a space that we've been speaking about quite a lot here at Black Economics. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please allow me to encourage you all to subscribe. Make sure you like as well, because there is a lot happening, and it's only going to continue, especially as now we see the world shifting. I feel like we're in a place where the world is so fast paced that if you don't really integrate AI, you kind of will be like sort of left behind in a way. Or you might not have as much um what's the word, competitiveness as your peers might have, be it even if you're running a business, yes, but if you're not running a business, then you're gonna want to find out how to use it. Otherwise, you might find that it's used against you, and that's how I look at certain things in our society, in our world today. So, and that being one of them as well. So, I won't talk too much longer. I will go ahead and pass over to Balaji, and I thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Tim.
You.
Thank you, Don, for inviting me onto this platform. And hello, everybody. It's lovely to be here. My name is Bolaji Olatoye, as has been mentioned, and I am an AI expert. But I'm going to go into a bit more of my background later on. What I wanted to do, if possible, I would love for this session to be interactive. So I'll give you the end. What we're going to get to at the end is a demo, right? I'm going to demo to you one of our um, new AI tools. I know Dawn has kind of seen it in action a little bit because I've shown it to her in a setting where we demoed it previously, and it's really really cool. But I wanted to get a show of hands first of all. So how many of you are using AI right now in your business? If you can, drop a one in the chat. If you're using AI in your business right now, okay. Yes, yes. So we're all using AI. Fantastic. And I guess the extent to your AI, to what extent are you using it? Is it like a chat GPT, or are any of you going a little bit further and actually like building, AI? Like what's the extent of your AI usage? You can put it in the chat. You can even feel free to speak up if you like. I'd love to get a sense.
For me, if I may, I'm
Yeah.
using ChatGPT a lot, and
Okay.
one area that I've looked at exploring is, building out an AI agent. I'd love to sort of build out an AI agent and have it
Okay.
sort of, yeah. So,
Okay. Nice. Okay. So thank you for that, Timothy. And I see Layla's using it for Copilot for summarizing meeting notes. Okay. And these are all amazing, great uses. Chris is using it to build apps and productivity more. Hey, Chris is some kind of an expert. Chris used three letters that makes me know he's deep into this thing. He said LLM. LLM, for those who might not know, is a terminology in the AI space called large language models. So, yes, Chris, I see you. I see you. I salute you. Don't you use it for research? Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to go into a presentation. And bear in mind, the topic of this talk is about how AI can boost your business and how it can catapult things. But um, one thing about me is I've had to find a way throughout my career. I've always had to find a way to make a technical subject interesting and not going into too much technical detail because I know it can go over people's heads. So my pattern has been to how can we talk about the technology in relatable terms. And another thing about me that you'll get to know is I am a I'm a geek and a nerd, meaning I'm really into superheroes, I'm really into Marvel, and I'm really into all of that kind of space. So I somehow find a way to relate that to whatever I'm doing. So I just wanted to give you fair warning because what you're about to see is going to be related to that. So I hope that's okay. Now, I have titled my talk, which is kind of like my I guess pre-demo. I've called it Awakening the Sleeping Giant. I'm going to whisk through it because I know we want to see the demo, we want to get into AI, but there's a bit of a preamble which I think will be helpful for you to see. Um, and the reason I've kind of called it this is because one of the things which I believe holds people back in progressing in anything. So technology is one area that some people kind of find a little bit challenging or maybe daunting. And there are various reasons for that. But I also have a view on technology that I see it as like an equalizer, a tool that can level the playing field. And ultimately, I believe that we all have greatness within us, individually in our businesses. And sometimes we go through things in life that kind of like push them down and it causes that sleeping giant to be, buried. So this is going to be a talk about how, first of all, let's address that topic of a sleeping giant, and then let's see how AI can, bring it out. So the greatness that's within you, already, but has been buried under life struggles, challenges, and setbacks. So a little bit about me. So I have 20 years of digital transformation experience within top tier investment banks. I've worked for quite a lot of banks. I've worked for JP Morgan, Merrill Lynch, Barclays, HSBC, BlackRock, and then a couple of, hedge funds and some fintech startups. So I've pretty much, as you would say, worked across, Wall Street. And in my time, I've managed multi-million-dollar automation projects. I am also an international speaker. So, even just last year, I spoke in multiple places, Singapore, Paris, Lagos, Nigeria, and across a number of places in the UK, and all the while talking about AI and empowering people. I run a community called the Automated Wealth Academy, which is a supportive network of entrepreneurs, business owners, and people who are interested in getting deeper into AI and automation as it pertains to their business. And we provide workshops, trainings, coaching, and resources, and so on and so forth. And I'm on Instagram. So if you've got your phones out, do me a favor and scan the QR code, or just go to my Instagram. It's at Bolaji Olatoye, and give me a follow. I post a bunch of cool stuff on my Instagram. I am on LinkedIn as well, but LinkedIn I have to put my professional face on, and Instagram, I can be real. So yeah, if you go to my Instagram and then follow me there, and then we can crack on. So today we're going to be talking about a bunch of AI and cool stuff. But before we do that, it's about how you see yourself. Now, I think there is so much power in identity, right? And first of all, let me play a scenario with you. How many of you are familiar with this terminology or this kind of thinking of you want to achieve something, but before you can, you feel like, okay, I must have the resources first. I must then, once I have the resources, only then can I do the thing that I want to do. And then only then can I be, what it is that I want to be it successful. And I think that's backwards, right? So it's all about, first of all, being that first, right? Be, do, and have. And I'll give you a personal example of myself. Won't go too much deeply into it, but I've had on my vision board for a long time to, be an international keynote speaker, but I didn't know how, right? So it was only in the sort of last year, let's say end of 2023, I put it on my vision board. I put pictures of, speakers. I had Les Brown there. I had Eric Thomas, and then I had a bunch of, renowned speakers who are in my field of AI marketing. And I'm like, that's my goal, that's my vision, but I had no idea. But then so that was my identity. I began to see myself as that. And then I, sought out opportunities, right? I wasn't sure what I was doing. I went out, I sought out opportunities, I partnered with people, I did things, and ultimately, in 2024, I had one of my first international speaking engagements, and it was on a stage in Lagos, Nigeria, in front of about 5,000 people. and that kind of kicked it off. And to me, I probably did it in a way that people might think, oh, you don't do it that way. But to me, it was all about identity, right? It was all about stepping into that identity first, and everything else follows. And I think there's a key thing to take away there. And then let's take another example of you know, the person within. I like to call this the champion within, or the overlooked champion. How many are familiar with the David and Goliath story? Yeah, I'm sure we are. There's a new series that just came out on Amazon Prime called The House of David. Really cool, really interesting. But let's give the cliff notes of David and Goliath. So I'm sure you're aware David was a shepherd, and his brothers were the soldiers. He wasn't the person that you would have picked to be in the front lines of the army, right? But there was something that David knew about himself that others didn't really know. The people who were on, picking the soldiers, they didn't really know that David had spent a lot of time defending his flock, fighting with lions and tigers and all of the other wild animals, and becoming successful. So when it came to Goliath, David was like, "Well, I don't know if you know about this about me. I don't know if you know this about me, but I've been doing this for a while, right?" So to him, it was like, "Yeah, like what's the big deal? Let me go and deal with this guy." And with that, I just wanted to kind of let us know that you don't need permission to be great, right? And you also need to pick yourself. And again, this kind of falls in line with the thing with AI, because sometimes you're thinking with technology, oh, it's not for me, right? Oh, I'm not the kind of guy that can make success from technology. It's for those guys over there. But I wanted to let you know that actually, from when you have that greatness within and how you see yourself, it is for you. And I'm going to show you the tools. Lastly, last example I'll give here. Um, so Thor. Now, the reason I've put Thor on the board is how many of you like have gone through phases in life, and maybe you've had dreams, of grandeur in the past, but maybe life has happened. You've had a couple of knocks, you've had a couple of setbacks, maybe relationships have broken down, and then, you begin to see yourself as, I had this dream of old, but I'm not sure if it's there anymore, right? So this is where I get from Thor. And just to give you the example of what happened in the Thor story. So Thor, one of the strongest Avengers that there is, and he was defeating all of the baddies, and then this guy called Thanos came along and defeat Thor, and he defeated the whole of the Avengers, and it really messed with his identity, and then he went into a depression. But then there was this scene in Avengers Endgame where he went back in time to save the day, and at that point his hammer had previously been destroyed. But the thing with the hammer is it was given to him by his dad, who said, only if you are worthy can you wield it. So when he went back in time, before he kind of went back to his original time, he held his hand out, because that's how you get the hammer. He held his hand out, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not sure if it's gonna come," and then it came, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm still worthy." So yeah, I could see Timothy nodding. So I feel like I'm on the same page with you, but for everybody
Absolutely.
else, you might not you might not get that. But yeah, I'm glad it didn't go over everybody's head. So but I've said those examples just because, it's not just about the tech. It's about, first of all, how you see yourself, your internal view of yourself. And sometimes you have to either transform internally, or, go back to that place where you believed that you were great. Because only like technology can only, especially AI can only really enhance what's already there. So if you're starting from a place of low, and of low self-esteem, and of low vision, and of low, how you see yourself in your business, AI is only gonna like multiply that. So my encouragement is to you is, whatever you're doing personally or in business, see it as high as you can, because then AI becomes the multiplier and really accelerates it. And then there's the question of, a lot of us are thinking AI is going to replace us, right? So my view is slightly different. Um, Now, I do think that AI, there are some jobs that AI will either make obsolete or displace slightly, but I don't want you to see AI as a replacement. I want you to see it as an accelerator, right? It's a multiplier. So it scales what's already working, right? So that's in terms of, it can enhance your thinking, it can enhance your productivity, and in terms of business terms, it can enhance your marketing and sales, right? So some of you have already mentioned when we asked earlier on about, what you're using AI to do. You're really using things like ChatGPT as a consultant, right? As an assistant, sometimes as a muse, and even as an execution partner. So when you think of AI in that sense, it's more valuable to you than just something that you think is going to replace you. Okay. So again, why now? So I think we all know AI is, it's not the future, it's here now. And the stark reality is, on the one hand, AI is that tool that if you're using it, it's going to, it's not even going to put you ahead as such. It's going to put you in the same playing field as other businesses. So I see AI as like a leveling tool. So it allows you to operate at a level, that some of the bigger conglomerates, can do. So big conglomerates, they have the benefit of having money and they can, do things at scale because they have the resources. Great thing about AI is it allows you to operate in the same way. And we're going to show you some examples of that. But on the flip side, my charge to you is for those who are not using AI right now, it really puts you at a disadvantage unnecessarily because it's really available to you. And I encourage you to begin using it. So here are some stats that, it would paint that kind of picture. So 90% of startups fail without key technology like AI, crucial for scaling and survival. 70% of businesses that embrace AI and automation report faster and more accurate decision making. And 20% of small businesses fold due to slow tech adoption. So all of these, point to the fact that yes, we should be using AI right now. And again, talking about vision, right? So that's the missing link. I think once you have vision and you apply it to technology, then you get the magic combination where actually you've got that direction, right? So before you can automate, my charge to you is think about like where are you going? So what you need to do is define your business model, right? And then I've got this point here about testing a manual process. So we're going to go into talking about sales and how AI can help your business to make more sales very shortly. But it's important to understand that actually the process of making sales is a process. It's not something that's random. There's a set of steps that must be followed. And if you're able to understand and master that first, then automation and AI is only going to help you to scale it. But you have to kind of understand that first, because sometimes when you apply automation and AI to something that you haven't really matured as a process, then it doesn't really work in your favor. Okay. So I'm going to introduce a framework that we've put together. Again, superhero themed, and I call it the S diagram. So the S diagram is a process flow that we've put together to really make the process of scaling as a business predictable and easy to follow. And then we've pinpointed key areas where we use AI to apply that. So, and just to give you a couple of stats in terms of how the S diagram has worked for myself and for my clients, right? So here's some real results, right? So we developed a pipeline of 1.7 million in our first year of using it. We've got clients that are reporting 6 figures in sales in under 3 months. So I'm talking about, people who are, let's say, services, businesses, consultants, coaches, and things of that nature. We are automating sales processes. We've had examples of people who are using our framework in our community that are waking up to new sales like really passively. There's a famous example of ours where one of our clients, they set up using the system and then created a digital product, and it was making sales even on Christmas Day, right? So that was pretty remarkable. And we're also using our AI and our system to book high value sales calls on autopilot, and this allows you to predict your lead generation and move away from that feast and famine cycle and be able to actually forecast accurately. Yeah. So I can see a question here and I will answer it. So I had a question in the chat and it was, what is a sales call? Okay. And actually it flows quite naturally into this diagram here. So I'll explain very shortly. But this is a step-by-step process that we've developed that if you go through every step and you check off every box in this process, not only will you make sales, but you will transform your business into a revenue generating machine. Like your business will turn into an asset because all of these steps constitute or contribute to the process of making sales repeatably. So this is really, really kind of important. So we call it the S diagram. And just so you are aware, at the end of this presentation, I will be giving you all um, I'll be giving you all the slides, and I've got some prompts as well. Okay, so I have another question. Is that what we type into the Gen AI tool? Well, funnily enough, yes, but I'll show you some prompts on that just now. So the first thing um, on our process is um, what we call an ideal client avatar. So this is actually a great to level set. If I does any Are you guys familiar with what a client avatar is? Does anybody Am I using terminology that's understood, or you want me to describe it a bit further?
Yeah, I think I'm aware of what it is, but for those that aren't, I think it would be best, yeah, to give a
Yeah.
brief. Yeah.
Okay, no worries. So in any business, right, for a business to be successful, you need to have a very clear understanding of who the type of person that you're going to be selling to. Some people call it a prospect, some people call it a client avatar, right? So we call it an ideal client avatar. And what that means is if you're able to identify that the profile of person, that's right down to, their age, their gender, their location, and, things about them like their pain points, right? And there's a particular um, category or there's a particular configuration of that, person that will allow you to sell a premium service, right? So not every avatar is a premium avatar. All right, there are avatars and then there are avatars. And in business, you want to be able to identify those who are going to pay you the most. Okay, so that's the premium, ideal client avatar. Then there's the offer proposition, right? So the offer proposition is, say you're a services business or you offer, some kind of product or service. It is how you package the outcome that you offer to a client. So, if you are a into fitness and you're maybe a fitness coach, what your offer isn't that, oh, I do PT sessions or I do training. Your offer is basically you are offering them a transformational outcome, right? So the transformational outcome basically means, you're going to look and feel better in 90 days from working with me, right? And how you're going to do that is basically I've got this set of features and benefits that I've packaged together, right? And I'm going to deliver it to you in this way. So that's what an offer is. An offer is basically, like they say in what's that film, The Godfather? Or I think it's The Godfather. Offer you can't refuse. So when an offer is done well, it's what they call irresistible. And an offer is directly linked to your ideal client avatar, meaning um, the offer that works for one ideal client avatar may not work for another. So that's why these things are intrinsically linked. Okay, and then we have our financial roadmap. So one of the things that we love to do in this process is, define the price of your product and ultimately put a plan together as to what it will take to get you to your milestone. So for some people, it might be six figures. For some people, it might be more. But this means, okay, how many leads do I need? How many, sales do I need to make in a particular period? And once I have that, then it gives me a very clear roadmap, right? And that's the bottom row. And then the middle is so that the bottom row is kind of like what we call like foundational. These are the things that you must have in place. And then we have the middle row, which is what I refer to as like literally going out to market. So once I've got my setup in place, then I'm now ready to make sales. But before I can make sales, I need to capture the attention, right, of my ideal client avatar. I need to cultivate their attention and keep their attention and keep them interested. So build relationships. And then ultimately, I convert them. So to give you a case in point, just to answer the question that was asked earlier, I will, capture the attention via, putting out some content or giving something out that I know is going to be of value. So we call it like a lead magnet, something that's going to grab the attention of my ideal client avatar. It might be a free ebook. It might be a report. It might be some kind of questionnaire, right? But once I've done that, then I now have them in my world. They're in my mailing list, and I can now converse with them. I can build that relationship with them either via email or via phone calls. And then, then that's what I refer to as the cultivate. And then I go to convert. So convert is basically, let's say somebody has engaged with me in the capture stage. They've been receiving my messages, and they are now what we call a bit warmer. So in order for me to convert them, I need to have some kind of conversion event. That conversion event might be a sales call, right? Where we get on the phone, I explain to them my offer, and we make the offer, and then they purchase or not. But that's what we call the sales call, right? And this is the point where you make sales. And once we've gone through this process, once or twice, then we have some information that we can now use to refine the process. So the top row is about refining, right? So KPIs are key performance indicators, like how many of these calls do I need to take to make a sale every couple of weeks? What type of patterns am I recognizing from people? Are people responding to this type of message or that type of message? What are their objections? So we're plugging that data back in, and then ultimately we move to scale where it's like, okay, now I've got this information and I have all of this data. I'm going to now apply the system to it, and it's going to automate my whole process. And then, I can step away from processes one at a time. And before you know it, everything is running by itself. I've gone into a very long, explanation, but I'm going to leave time for questions shortly. But that's the S diagram. Now, here is, for those of us who use ChatGPT, this is a prompt that I would actually like you to screen grab. And of course, I'm going to make it available to everybody after the call. But here's how you can identify your ideal client avatar. And this is one prompt, but once you the things that I will make available to you afterwards, I'll give you a full set of detailed prompts that if you copied and pasted into ChatGPT, it will give you like expert, consultant advice on exactly how to pinpoint your ideal client avatar. But you can screen grab this prompt for now. And then crafting your offer, right? So here is a prompt that you can use, right, to identify and articulate your client your offer proposition. So these are the kind of things that if you use it, it gives you very much clarity on how to offer your service. Okay. Now I've got another prompt that I use, which it's kind of a game changer. But for me to explain it, I have to give you a little bit of another geeky story. So just bear with me. I can see Timothy nodding. I see you, bro. But this is Superman. So very, very quickly, Superman. I'm sure we're all aware of Superman. He's a superhero, superhuman, and superhuman strength, and just strong and everything like that. But many people are not aware that he came from a planet called Krypton, right? And in Krypton, he's actually not super. In Krypton, he's just a regular, ordinary person because of the atmosphere of the sun in his planet. I am going somewhere with this, right? But then what now happened is Superman his parents sent him away from Krypton to Earth. And it's only when he got to Earth that his powers were activated, right? So his powers were activated in Earth because, the atmosphere of the yellow sun in Earth, it made him super strong, super fast, superhuman. But where am I going with this? So here's a question. Imagine if he did not leave Krypton and didn't, go to Earth. He would never have realized his full potential. And I think there's a lesson for us there in business, because if we think about achieving your full potential, and realizing your value, that actually relates to, getting money, getting paid. There are certain scenarios and certain settings that you will put yourself in that in one setting, you're not valued. You won't get paid as much. But for the same skill set and for the same values that you have, if you place yourself somewhere else, much more money. It might be easier for me to give you this example of like a bottle of water. If I put a bottle of water in like Tesco's, it's going to be like £1. Put a bottle of water in a filling station, maybe £2. A bottle of water in an airport possibly 3 or more. But again, it's the same bottle of water, right? So question is now, whose responsibility is it to place your water where it goes? It's your responsibility. But I have a prompt because some of us might be in that place where it's like, I have all of these skills. I'm not being valued, right? The way that I want to be valued. I'm not making the right money that I know that I'm worth. What can I do? So here I call it the zero competition zone, where you can place yourself in different areas. And I'll give you a case in point. So, I was talking with Dawn earlier on today, and I was talking about how this weekend, it seems random, I was giving a presentation in the Excel Center at Professional Beauty. There's a professional beauty exhibition. And it's like, what are you doing there? What has that got to do with anything that I'm interested in or that I'm, involved in? But I'm using the same principles. I know that, AI is needed everywhere. I know that it's a business equalizer for all businesses. I also know that the beauty industry is $1 billion industry. So to me, it makes perfect sense. But it was that kind of thinking, that kind of uh, contrarian thinking that it's like, okay, I'm gonna look at my skill set and I'm gonna apply myself to where it's valued the most. So here's a prompt that I would really encourage you to screen grab. There's two versions of it. One of them is list industries or sectors where my unique combination of skills, experience, and interests could uniquely position me as an expert. Consider areas that are currently underserved or emerging and align with my professional background and passions. And then the second one is based on my background, my unique background in blank and expertise in blank. What types of organizations, groups, or partnerships opportunities should I target to quickly establish myself as an authority and visibility in my field? So there you go. Okay, so I see a note here. Right, you thought about that too for the plumbing industry, right? So I think you should go for that. And that's the thing. I think sometimes as a maybe as a community, sometimes we can get too comfortable within our own community, not realizing that there is opportunity and there's money to be made if you branch out a little bit. And it's not to say to forsake your community. It's just, you can really realize your value and then let's say bring the money back into the community. But like you can go out, there's places that will value you and you will stand out way more. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You've just got to make the risk and try. You've just got to make the risk and try. Okay, so I've gotten through the geeky bits. Now we're going to go through AI. So over the past, I would say, couple of years, we've been working very closely in a automations and AI agency type of capacity where we've been working with businesses and looking at what types of ways we can fix problems that they have. And we've seen, there's four major problem spaces that if they were fixed, businesses would thrive completely, right? So one of them is in lead generation. So how do I get and find leads that are, exactly in the market, right, for what I am selling and that will pay the right money and also are the decision makers. So that's lead generation. Then the next problem that we've have is how can I solve the problem of when I don't have staff who can, direct my customer inquiries and who can converse with, potential prospects, and who can ultimately keep my customer services going well. So that's another problem we've solved. And then there is, okay, how do I get sales people? How do I get people who can actually get on the phone and close sales, or move people and book people onto sales calls without it costing an arm and a leg? And of course, lastly, how can I have like, some companies, they have like a COO, a chief operating officer that makes sure processes are in order, make sure things are being done, make sure that, all of the workflows are in place and it's the company is running efficiently. But the thing is, to as a small business, it will cost you a pretty penny to be able to operate at this level and to hire experts because these are expert skilled roles, right? So even if it's down to like let's say an admin staff, right? Potentially a minimum wage is at least 25 grand in a year. And to, run an operation, you're probably going to need around like 4 to 5 people to kind of keep it going. And that's just minimum wage. And now we're talking about around 100 to 125 grand. And let's not mention, like benefits and holidays and, training and things of that nature. And then, there's, of course, these are like I said, low of the range in terms of cost. Imagine if you're getting more expert staff, it becomes impossible for you to operate, at the level that you need without getting a huge cash injection or having loads of working capital. It's just not possible, right? So we've solved that problem with our 4 bot system. And again, we've named these bots as a uh, almost like superheroes. So we've got the Oracle bot, which is for lead generation, and it works really well for B2B business. So we've got a B2B business bot that will go out, it will find, names, phone numbers, emails of decision makers, and it will also give you like a profile of them and also how to pitch them, right? So how do you approach them? What should your pitch be? It has all of this in with this bot system. Okay, and then we have what we call the navigator, and this is for customer services. So if you've got a website and or if you have a website, if you have WhatsApp, if you have email, if you have Instagram, Facebook, right? This is a bot that we integrate that will now converse in real time, like kind of like a chat bot. But it won't just be, one word responses or like templated responses. It converses with you intuitively as if it was a staff member. So it's programmed to know all the things about your company that you want your staff or your customers to know, and it will direct them accordingly. So, we even had a call with one of our customers today, and we showed them the system, and they were like, "Oh, I actually I'm away for some parts of the day, and the next couple of weeks I'm going to be away. This tool is going to be so helpful for me because even though I'm away, the system is still on. So as far as my company and my customers are concerned, I am serving them all the time. I don't need to be physically there, right? And then we have our what we call the Vanguard, which is our voice agent. So again, this is, I call it our superstar because it will converse in real time. It will make calls if they need to be made to your staff or to your prospects, and it will also receive calls, right? And from those calls, it has an objective to qualify. So qualifying basically means, talking to your prospect, understanding their needs, and directing them to the right place that you want to direct them to in your company, whether it's to, make a purchase or to, book them in onto a sales call. This does it, automatically. And this is the bot that I'm going to demo in a minute. And then we have our commander, which is our ops manager. And it has, what we call kind of like they call it CRM functions, but essentially it's like it has a pipeline that it can manage. It has processes that it keeps in order. It has, it manages tasks. It ensures that when, certain actions are taken, that, things will happen automatically. So let's say, somebody signs a contract, automatically sends them what needs to happen next. Or when somebody makes a payment, it automatically onboards them and it kind of activates the voice agent to kind of check in with them. It just keeps things running and keeps the lights on. Yeah, so those are the 4 bots systems. Now, I need a volunteer. I need a volunteer now because I want to actually do a demo. Yeah, so is there somebody who, in order to demo this, I need somebody who's okay to be on camera and who is able to respond to the bot. So I'm going to call, the bot is going to call and it's going to converse with you. And I will just ask you to talk with it, answer its questions, converse with it, and see where the conversation goes. Could I have a volunteer?
Don't be shy, guys. Yes.
It's important that I can show you this in real time. I'm really excited. It might have to be you, Timothy, by the way, but I don't know if people are being quiet.
I think so. I think so. Okay, let's go for it.
All right. Okay, cool. So for this to work, um, I'm gonna have to put my phone on speaker. So I'm on my headset right now. So let me change it to the Mac speaker. So can you still hear me?
Yes.
You can. Okay, and then for this to work, I need everybody, if possible, to be on mute apart from Timothy. Is that okay? All right, cool.
Margot with AI Workforce Heroes. How may I help you today?
Hiya, I'm looking for help to scale my business.
Great to hear you're looking to scale. Can you tell me a bit about your business and who your ideal clients are?
Absolutely. So I have a traveling agency and we are looking to get more clients. We basically package travel deals for those that are looking to travel and find them the best prices.
That sounds exciting. So you're looking to attract more clients who are interested in travel deals and competitive pricing. What methods are you currently using to generate leads?
Shit, good question. I mean, at the moment, we are relying on ads. We are contacting other agencies. We are sending out emails. That's that are the those are the methods at the moment.
Got it. You're using ads, partnerships with other agencies, and email outreach. Are you looking to grow your sales and increase your results with these methods?
Absolutely, that's all we're looking for at the moment.
Awesome. Would you be interested in booking a live demo with our team to see how our AI solutions can help you find and connect with more prospects?
Sure, that would be really good.
Perfect. Let me check the calendar for availability. What day and time works best for you?
I'm pretty flexible at the moment. How does tomorrow work at 3 p.m.?
Tomorrow at 3 p.m. sounds great, so I'll book that for you. You'll receive a confirmation SMS with all the details. Looking forward to seeing you at the demo.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'm excited to help you grow your business. Have a great day and see you at the demo.
Wow, same to you. Thank you. Bye.
So, what's your thoughts on that?
It's impressive. It really is. It's you would think that you're just having a normal conversation. It's to even wrapping my head around me having a full-on conversation like that. Those are
Yeah,
conversations that we have every day with people. So
yeah,
to to get the spoiler at the beginning to know that it's AI, we have that spoiler. But
yeah,
the everyday person, wow.
right. Yeah,
Goodness.
yeah. And this is the thing. So we have obviously programmed that bot for demo purposes to suit this demo. But imagine it was for your business, right? And we would program it to understand your business. We have a whole setup procedure where we'll get your prices, we'll get your knowledge base, and then you know uh, it will have an objective, and it's not so much that AI is going to do everything in your business, but it helps to, if you think about that process map that I showed before, the S diagram, it helps to move somebody from just point one to point two, or point two to point three. So now, if you had, somebody had come in, maybe you'd given a presentation or you did some ads, and they've come into your what we call pipeline. You can activate the bot, give them a call, give them a courtesy call, and move them along. And let's say you have a product that's low priced enough, you can make a sale instantly. So what we're really talking about now is people are familiar with this concept of like passive income. People go into real estate because of rental income, which is great. It's a great source of income. But what we're presenting here is another potential source of passive income, right? With a bit of configuration. And it takes some time to normalize. So it's not like instant, but it becomes a passive income vehicle. And then imagine if your product was a bit more. Maybe your product was like, over 500 or, a few thousand and so on and so forth. You might not sell that directly on a phone call, but what you could do is book them onto a sales call, just like what this has done just here. And then if you had a sales team that's just ready to take calls, so what we're seeing right now with our clients is literally just calls booked, calls booked, calls booked, calls booked, calls booked. So it reduces the headspace that you have to manage as a business owner, because it's like, okay, the system's going to handle all of that. My sales team's going to handle, the sales. So before you know it, in a month, let's say, you sell, I don't know, £1,000 product. You could be selling I don't know, 5, 10, even more of them in a month without much hassle, without much, effort. So yeah, I mean, let me see some of the comments. So okay, people are wouldn't even think it's a bot. Wow, amazing, so amazing. Voice was natural and conversational. I see this comment. I think I would like to confuse it. Yeah, Dawn, I can give you opportunity to do that. But to be honest with you, we could even go through that if you wanted, because when it's not sure, it will let you know that it's not sure, and it will basically refer you to somebody or to say, "Can I take a message?" or something like that. So, it can be tripped, just like anybody can be tripped if they didn't know the answer to the question. So yes. So that was the demo that I wanted to show. Are there any questions? Because I know we're coming to the end of time. I want to let how the offer that we have for businesses to actually make the most of this tool. But are there any questions that anyone has at this point? I'd love to take some questions.
Feel free to unmute if you wish. If not, then you can type it in the chat as well. So I'm curious to know, like, what is the sort of what goes into building it out to get to that sort of level where it can have the conversation flowing just so naturally like that.
Okay. So we've already pre-built the tool. So now it's just a case of we can configure it. So we offer a service that is a managed service, and we basically configure it for you. Now there's a question from Leila in terms of security. Where is the data stored? So every person who we use this tool with, they have their own database. So one of the bots is essentially a database, the commander bot. But if you had your own CRM, then the data will be stored in your own CRM. So it's all, secure. It's the same kind of concept as if you had, like, some people use MailChimp, some people use MailerLite. It's the same kind of data security protocols as in tools like that.
Have you tested it with complicated accents or complicated sentences?
Yes, we have. So it actually, um, that that was one voice that you showed, that you heard. It's got multiple, right? It's got multiple voices, multiple accents, and you can configure it to be whichever one you want. And something that we're also working on is what we call like voice cloning. So if you set it up for yourself, we can actually make it, sound like you, so that as far as you're concerned, it's like it's representing you on the phone if you wanted to do that. Yeah.
Wow,
Well,
that's
yeah, that's quite scary though, because you think, oh, in terms of fraud, how do you protect against that?
Yeah, so we have checks and balances, and that's why we run it as a managed service where we're always getting feedback. And all of our clients, we have like a client portal where any errors we log and we fix, quickly. So we're very much aware of, like, how to limit risk, manage risk, and things like that.
Do you
Um,
worry that AI could be like get into the wrong hands? Not necessarily like based on the future and how it's getting
yeah.
used so expansively. Do you worry about, its use in government or creating wars?
It's a good question. So I think with every tool and every new, advancement and innovation, there's always there's always two sides. And in and of itself, the thing is just the thing, but it's really about, who's using it. So I do think that over time there should be, safeguarding, there should be regulation, but I think these things are catching up with themselves because the advancement of the technology is happening very, very quickly. I think the regulations are gonna fast follow. It's just like when other technologies came out, like things like blockchain. Initially, there were no regulations as such, but things are coming in now, and government's more getting involved, and things like that. So I think, yeah, regulation and governance is definitely needed, yeah. And that's why the approach that we take is, transparent and well governed, and we work with our clients to make sure that we're transparent with everything that's going on.
Yeah, it's great business.
So
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, are there businesses that you, in your opinion, you would promote to be adopting this, and you'd be advocating that they basically implement this within their business, versus businesses that this might not work so well for?
Yeah.
To know the two varying degrees there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it relates to the question, I think, from Janet. Does the bot work for every business, or do you have to configure it to individual business? So
Okay.
the technology itself will work for pretty much any business, because really what it's doing at its core is being given an objective, and it's completing the objective. But where it works best, right, is if you have if the company, has an established sales process, then it's more it's better, because it's basically, like I said before, it's enhancing something that's already working. So if I'm in a business that, it's already operating, I'm already hiring staff, I'm already making sales. If I plug this in, it's only just going to make more. And then where it also works well is, let's say you had a service that was kind of reasonably priced. So something that, we call it high ticket. Um, because of the, costs involved, you sell a handful of high ticket services. So let's say, I don't know, 2 grand, 3 grand, 5 grand, or whatnot. Very quickly you've made between 5 and like 15 grand. So that becomes a very lucrative exercise, and then you almost begin to see it almost like a slot machine, because if I'm plugging into the system, then it works really well. But because the AI service is a fixed cost, so what can now happen is, as long as I can, like you've got in terms of like systems, you have the input, you have the process, and you have the output. So the input is basically the leads. So how many leads am I able to generate? How many, leads am I able to push through the system, which is the process? So that output is sales. The more I can pump in to the business, the more I can pump in terms of leads, then, if by virtue of conversion rates, I will make more money. So if it's already making me, money, and then I said, you know what, I'm going to pump more into it, pump more leads, I'm only going to multiply. So when you begin to think about it, like I see this tool as if you are familiar with the concept of like investing, I'm even potentially trading, you can see that, okay, if I have something that's working, if I increase, what I'm putting into it, I'm only going to increase what's coming out of it,
Yeah, it's like doubling down,
so
isn't it?
it's like doubling down. So I look at it as like, and I think this is how I feel business owners should look at things in general. If you think too short term in terms of your business objectives, you could be shooting yourself in the foot. Whereas if I think, okay, give myself, a year, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to mature this thing. Like the stats say, it takes a couple of years even for some new businesses to even like break even,
Yeah.
right? So if you're able to think about it in that terms, then that's very helpful. But if your business is already generating some revenue, and you plug this into it, it's a great idea. Yeah.
Hi, I wanted to ask something.
Yes.
You said there were 4 heroes. So the
Yeah.
hero you just demonstrated to us, is this
Yes.
the one that was finding the leads, or is it the one that's doing the sales call?
This is the one that's doing the sales calls. So
Okay.
we do have the bot that generates the leads, but I'm not able to demo it on this call right now, but it's there. So what I've demoed to you is the one that makes the calls. So once the leads have come in, and the thing is, because many of us may already have lead generation in place. Maybe you're running ads or you're doing social media, and we kind of like sell the bot systems separately or in a package. So I can actually go on to explain how it works. So ultimately, first of all, if you look at it comparatively, to have a staff member that will be doing any of these bots tools, any of these bots functions, you are looking at about like a full-time member of staff. Even if it's a part-time member of staff, you're going to be spending anywhere at least, maybe 25 grand a year for each. So for all of these bots, you're going to be spending about, 100 grand in a year. And that's for a staff to do like one task and to only operate when they're operating. So, not 24/7. And also they need to be trained. So our bots, we do them for just 250 a month. And that's a managed service. They're working 24/7, and it's just 250 a month. So we have a setup fee for each bot, and then it's 250 a month, right? So that is, and the configuration that works really well is the Vanguard bot, the voice bot, and the navigator bot, which is the chat bot and the real-time communications. And then the commander bot is also the CRM. So all in all, if you were to reuse all of this, it would be 1,000 setup and 1,000 a month. But what I've done is, I've had a chat with Dawn and I said, for anybody who's on this call, we're able to do a special offer, right? Where we'll get you all of the bots for just £500 a month. So it will be the Vanguard, the voice bot, the navigator, the chat bot, and also the commander, right? And then as for on the lead generation, what we would do for you for this is we'd give you 50 leads credits that you can use. So you would have all of that, and you'd have that for just 500 a month, right? So that's an offer that actually we're only able to make it for people who are actually seeing this this presentation, and we're only doing 5 of them because we can't do too much of this because it's actually it's actually much cheaper than it's supposed to be. But we thought we actually want to spread the word and help people in our community. So if you actually and also everybody who's watching this presentation, as promised, you will get the ChatGPT prompt. So let me just kind of explain what you will get. You get ChatGPT prompts for finding your client avatar. You will also get ChatGPT prompts that will help you to get your offer together. We'll get you ChatGPT prompts that, for those of you who are familiar with ebooks, so we've got a ChatGPT prompt that will actually create your ebook for you. We have a ChatGPT prompt that, for those of you who are into speaking, that will generate your speech. It will generate your keynote speech. And we also have, a whole resource pool of, how to structure webinars, and how to, run and create ads, right? So you get access to all of that, and that's within our community, the Automated Wealth Academy. But to get access to that, you need to scan the QR code. This QR code. My finger's not pointing well. So that's my whistle stop tour on AI. I don't know if anybody has any other questions or any remarks.
That's awesome. And Bolaji, where can people find you as well if they did have any further questions that come to mind after this?
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram. I'll give you my Instagram URL. I'm on Instagram and I'm also on LinkedIn. I'll give you my LinkedIn too.
Okay.
I am on Facebook, but I'm not like actively on Facebook. So those are my 2 ways in which you can get hold of me.
So, Bolaji, you're saying that with these 4 heroes, it's like having 4 members of staff doing your
Absolutely. It's like
sales.
having, definitely. I mean, more than just having 4 members of staff, it's like having 4 fully staffed departments, because to have one staff member that you would actually pay, that's just one staff member, and it can only do one set of tasks at any time. But the thing with our bots is, they can work there 24/7. And if it's in terms of responding to calls or making calls, it can be done, simultaneously, because it's all controlled by the system. So let's say, you did get loads of leads in, and you needed to respond to all of them. If you were to do that with, your staff team, it would take you lots of time or lots of staff. You'd end up spending lots of money. So like the costs begin to really justify themselves when you think about how low the cost is of what we're doing versus how high the output and high the value is. Yeah.
And
And
you
Bolaji,
showed us,
okay.
sorry, you showed us sales calls being done.
Yes.
Does the bot also do chats, like DM chats on
It,
Instagram, say, or LinkedIn?
yeah, it does. It does. I mean, if you go to my Instagram and you DM me, I think if you go on any of my posts, not DM, and just put a comment on any of my posts and say prompt, um, it should like converse with you in a very similar way. Yeah. Um, yeah.
So anybody who comments under anything you posted.
Yeah. So I've got it configured at the moment that if you type that word, then it will respond to you. And that's really cool, because for those of you who are active on social media, you can do, posts and viral posts and reels, and you can do what they call like a call to action, where it's like, oh, comment this if you want this, and it will
Yeah.
yeah. And another thing that we have, as part of the prompts that I'm making available to you here is we have prompts that you can use to generate, like months of social media content all at once. Yeah. So and like, well formatted, sounding like you in your own tone of voice. So we have templates that do all of that. If I had more time, I would have shown you, actually taking you through the process of generating content. So right now on my feed, it's posting 3 times a day, and I am not even there. I'm not even there, but we've used this system to be able to create high quality posts, and it's basically just, it's just running. And the good thing about that is it means that I'm present on social media even when I'm not, right? Because obviously I know the value of being present and showing up. So I've just used the system to do that.
Mm. But sometimes you have to be there to make your own comments on other people's posts. You wouldn't let AI do that, would you?
Oh yeah, so I mean, I show up on posts, but it's like I'm just not a slave to the platform anymore, because it's doing what I need it to do. And then whenever I feel like, okay, let me just have a browse, I can go in and I can browse and I can interact as I would, but it's still working for me because, my Instagram, I see it as like a business. I see it as, I have to show up. It's my shop front. So I'm always technically online, but it's not always me posting, it's the system. But when I want to, if I want to go on and start engaging, I can, but it's not going to
Mm.
interfere with the system. Yeah.
Sorry,
Mm.
can I just ask which one of the posts are done by AI? I joined late, but which one of the posts posting on Instagram are by AI?
All of them. So basically all of them. Most of the posts that you're seeing in my post now, so I could actually take you through the process of what we've done. So I have templates that I use, which, we've got pre-created, videos and so on and so forth. And then I use AI to create the prompts. And then I have like templates that I will use to generate like the output. And then we just schedule it. So yeah.
Mm.
So what information do you?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
But if you scan the QR code, you'll get all of the prompts and all of the like the playbook on how to do all of that. Yeah.
So it's actually the captions that you're saying that are the prompts that you're making, the videos and the things that you've done previously, and then you're just adding the two of them together.
Yeah, but there are some posts where I've used AI tools to create the videos. So it just depends. But generally, AI is helping me with the overall process of all of my content production. Um, you know, so yeah,
Nice, nice.
no worries.
So what do you require from businesses then before they could get started to to basically implement and take on these AI agents essentially?
Yeah, so I mean, we've got a very, very straightforward process. So once you sign on and you pick your the package that you want to go for, we have like an onboarding process. So the onboarding is basically we'll send you a questionnaire. So we have a questionnaire, quite detailed where we grab, as much information that will help us to then go to the next step, which is we're gonna like assess or evaluate your current process. So we'll look at, okay, do you have a way of generating leads? Do you currently have a way of nurturing your leads? Do you currently have like an offer? Do you have pricing? Do you have a calendar? So we'll look at all of that and then we'll say, okay, here's what you've got, here's the gaps, and here's where we're going to plug in the AI. So I can even show you an example of one of those that how it would look. So just bear with me 1 second because I think it's probably helpful for you to see. That's kind of what we come out with in terms of yeah, what does your AI look like? Or what is your AI? We call it like an AI architecture document. So just bear with me. Okay, so let's share my screen. You see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, this is an example of like, after we've done your initial kind of onboarding or audit, we would now look at, okay, these are the bots that you've in your package. Here's what we're doing with the lead capture. Here's what we're doing with the nurturing and qualification. Here's where we're the conversion event, and here is where the sale is made. On the left hand side, it shows you what bots you are in your package and what bots are not. And then over here, we've just got like an indication of what we're doing at each stage. This will be accompanied by a detailed walkthrough, but this is just like at a glance to show you, so you can use it as a reference point. And then we proceed to build, and then the next stage is we give it to you to test. If there's any changes you want to make, you can change it. So in terms of, oh, you don't like the way the bot sounds, you don't like how this response was, change this, change that, and then yeah, we roll it out. So we do all of this process within 2 weeks, and then you're ready to go, up and running.
So
Wow.
do you use it to grow your business, Bolaji?
Yes, I do. I do. So
Yeah.
we're using it in the background, absolutely, so we're making sales, in our business. We have a couple of different agencies that we've set up in terms of like digital agencies. So they're constantly making money for us. We use it to sell digital products. So like a great model is if you can sell like ebooks, courses, and things like that that are just sitting on your on the shelf. You can use a tool like this to sell them. So again, this is like perfect if you are a coach, you're a consultant, and you offer services or you have expertise and knowledge. These can be configured. I would say in terms of like reality and realistic check, it does take some time. So we encourage people to give it like 3 to 6 months to kind of normalize, especially if you're starting from scratch. I mean, if it's already working for you and you're already an established business, then almost instant. But if it's something that has to be built over time, then we encourage give it a little bit of a have some long term approach to it. But just like any investment, if you're able to wait 6 months for like a 10x return, it's worth it, right? So it's one of those things where it's like it's not good to have a short-term view on things, especially when the yield is so much higher.
Sorry, I didn't get to see what the price was. Is because I missed it. I don't know if you gave the price of what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have our standard pricing, which is for every bot. So there's, the 4 bot system. For each of them, it's 250 a month. So 250 for each bot per month. And just to compare it against, if you were to hire a staff member, it's a massive saving, right? Because in a year, even if you were to use all of the bots, you're saving so much money. You're probably saving, you're saving a lot of money. If you're hiring staff already, or if you were thinking about hiring staff. And then we have a setup fee as well. So the setup fee is basically the same as the bot price. So if it's 250 for the one bot, it's 250 for the setup as well. But what I've said, to Dawn is everybody who's watching this, as a thank you for watching it, we'll give you all bots for 500. So instead of 1,500, and then you'll get the voice bot, you get the chat bot, you get the commander bot, and then you get 50 credits on the leads system. So you basically get access to all of them, and in order to access that, you have to scan the QR code that's here. We're only doing 5 of those, of those deals, by the way. So, but we know that it's massively, it's of massive benefit to those who use it. So
I know you might have covered this, but what models do you use on the bots?
So we've got GPT models. So we've got our own custom GPTs that we're using, and we're able to configure it. When we go through the setup process, we'll actually show you, the output, and we can tweak it to your, obviously to your liking. But that's the kind of things that we go through, in the setup.
So on the voice bot, is there an amount of minutes that you can use the voice bot for, or is it unlimited?
So at the moment, we're doing it unlimited. So, we've kind of, we just want to get as many people on it as possible. So the current tiering that we have at the moment, it's not going to stay like that forever. But at the moment, if you get on now, it'll be unlimited, yeah.
So this is almost equivalent to sending out ads, isn't it? Using paid ads, say on Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah, there are similarities. So the thing with ads is, you would still, ads basically are needed to like reach out to make the offer to generate a lead. Meaning, I would tell the Meta platform, here is my ideal client audience, deliver this ad to them. But with regards to how it works on Facebook and Instagram, you can't like target them directly. You can only Facebook and Instagram will only show it to people who match like that criteria. So you're not really having their details. Whereas with our you only get their details if they respond to your ad. With our lead prospect bot, you get their contact information. So you have the ability to reach out to them directly. So, but our bots, we do encourage that you work it in conjunction with the lead generation strategy, because lead generation is very important. It's like what I was saying before about, the system works best when you're giving it as much input. So the input that you need into the system is the leads, right? So there are many sources that you can get leads. There's obviously our prospecting tool. There is Facebook ads. There is, going out in person and networking and meeting people. There's cold outreach. But once it gets into the system, and then our bots, take over to, converse with them, either call them or communicate with them, and so on and so forth.
Is there extra cost for the prospecting tool?
No. So I mean, it's the 250 a month.
Okay, so the prospecting tool is involved in it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. And is that so? If I take the package now and it's 500, would I pay that 500 monthly going forward, or is that just for one month? Or
no, it's monthly going forward. It's monthly going forward. As in, you'd be locked in at that price, if that makes sense. So it wouldn't like increase for you. Whereas if you didn't take the offer and then this offer expired, it will be the regular price. Do you get what I'm saying? So it will be the I guess the 1,000 or whatever. Yeah.
No, what I'm gonna have to probably do is watch the video back, because I don't want to go through the whole thing again. I joined really late. I was at a governor's meeting, so I couldn't join earlier. And I'll take a better look and then maybe be in contact.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem. I see the question from Layla. Are you saying we should put the details on this link here? Yeah, we can. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Just to
no
provide the
worries.
link, so in case we're interested. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that the
and either way,
details about the different types of bots?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think yeah.
Okay.
What I would definitely recommend either way is so in fact, let me share the screen so you see what's there. If you go to the link, it will take you to this page. Now, the first part everybody gets for free anyway. That's basically the slides from this presentation. It's the prompts, all of the prompts that I just mentioned, how to get your offer, your client avatar, your ebook, your signature talk, the content prompts, all of that stuff, you get it inside here. Then it's the next part is the plan that's available. We've got a special price for everybody on this call. So you'd get this for 500, and it's only for the first 5. So actually, like once 5 of these are sold, it won't sell it to you anymore. You'd have to get the regular package. Exciting. And if you have any questions about it, you want to chat to me about it, I'm available. Just let me know. We can book a conversation. But once these 5 are gone, then they're gone.
Hey, I think that's good.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, Bolaji.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me the space. It's really great talking to you all, and I do hope that you get stuck into AI, because it is really a game changer for all of our businesses. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And yes, this has been recorded, so we will go ahead and push this out as well. And I'm sure many more people will see it and have questions as well. So it's good that we have your Instagram as well, that they'll be able to reach out as well. So it's been a privilege to have you, Bolaji. Thank you.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.